At 5 o'clock, a raid hits North Seattle. Not a cartel safe house, a hospital director's home, with a hidden surgical chamber and 22 kilos of heroin on the floor. You clicked for tactics and truth, you're in the right place. We'll map how Dr. Whitlock's white coat became a black channel, 23 shell companies, encrypted orders, and ferry routes moving a ton of heroin and more. Then we break down the joint strike that rescued 9 hostages and shut the pipeline. Want to understand gray zone warfare inside civic walls? Stay with me. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. A hospital director hands out scholarships on stage, but keeps a surgical chamber at home. Civic trust becomes a smuggler's best camouflage when the coat grants access, and the clipboard writes the route. Whitlock ran a split life. In public, grants, press hits, and charity nights. In the shadows, a covert pipeline threaded through medical workflows where orders, couriers, and clearance codes moved under the banner of care. Admissions, pharmacy pulls, and specialty shipments became timing beacons that flagged when to move, when to pause, when to blend. Investigators tracked 23 shell firms set up in Nevada, Belize, and Panama, no staff, no floor space, no stock, yet money flowed as grants and procurement fees from Venezuelan and Mexican intermediaries. The path looked like philanthropy, but the cadence matched consignments and port calls. Hospital systems gave cover. Supply chains bring sterile kits, organs, and cold chain meds through bonded lanes with minimal friction. Donor programs collect funds and hardware with broad discretion. Patient file access grants a legal pretext to pull identifiers, build manifests, and align movement. The legitimate paperwork becomes cover traffic. The smuggling rides in the draft. Encrypted mail held codes that read bland to the untrained eye. A folder labeled Logistics mapped ferry runs and dock windows, tying a ton of heroin and another 1.5 tons of meth and fentanyl to maritime corridors that sync with shift changes and lab drop-offs. The sea did the heavy lift. The hospital masked the splash. Protection ran quiet. 20 public officials received recurring, security consulting, payments small enough to hide in routine budgets, steady enough to build muscle memory. One approval here, one gate waved there, 3 signatures later the lane stays open. Over 5 years, $37.9 million in benign entries formed a firewall built from civic paperwork, permits, invoices, thank you notes, so dull it repelled scrutiny. The evidence hall told the pattern, encrypted devices beside donation ledgers and patient files, each one a tasking tool nested inside an admin process. A $52 million facade of medical authority became a black channel that hardened gaps across hospitals, ports, and city offices into a single smuggling lane. Now the problem turns kinetic: strike a hostage-held node without breaking the chain of proof, or the people trapped inside. Why send 2,500 agents at dawn for a hospital-linked node? Because surprise buys seconds. Seconds keep hostages alive and evidence intact. That's the trade. The stack forms before first light. FBI HRT leads the assault elements. DEA fields breach and narcotics teams. ICE HSI brings custody, docks, and financial squads. Support rolls in with negotiators, K-9, medics, techs, and armored rescue vehicles. Objectives are clear and ranked: Rescue 9, secure drugs, capture documents and devices that tie the flow to ports, ferries, and offices.
We turn now to the fight against the growing fentanyl crisis. The Drug Enforcement Agency is sounding the alarm.
Fentanyl is killing people at record numbers.
For the past few years, the Reverend Robin Hood has been trying to end the drug problem that is impacting his West Side community.
Fentanyl is an opioid that's 30 times more potent than heroin and can be deadly in tiny doses.
We watched them go through their addiction, their shakes, they're just close to death.
Fentanyl is a very powerful, potent synthetic drug that is driving the overdose drug death crisis in the United States.
The clock is tight. 9 people sit bound in a warehouse on the Everett waterfront. A convoy sits warmed and staged, aligned to ferry arrivals. The phone in evidence holds routes and codes, but access windows close fast. If they move early, the trail burns. At 5 o'clock, the breach goes. A charge opens the east wall. Inside, gunfire rips from catwalks and dark corners. Forklifts lie on their sides, chained into barricades. Chemical drums make bunkers. Teams split, one clears up the ladders, one takes the floor, one hooks left to the holding area. K-9 drives movement. Shields punch lanes. Armored vehicles lock exterior streets and block the pier. Dawn matters. Fewer cars. Fewer phones. Bodies are in circadian dip, slower to react, less likely to scatter evidence. The perimeter seals faster. Chain of custody holds tighter. Comms stay on a single net. One controller calls pushes and pauses. Target folders mark faces and rooms. Arrest lists set who gets cuffed first, who gets triaged for interviews, who moves straight to isolation. Shooters, intel, and custody teams do not cross lanes. When the guns cool, the haul is heavy, 2.5 tons of narcotics, 324 weapons, cash, and offshore papers. 31 indictments follow, built on transfers, approvals, encrypted messages, and medical logs mapped to cartel schedules. 9 hostages leave under guard to UW Medical Center. Trauma care pairs with gentle, structured questions. Evidence meets empathy, minute by minute. The pipeline breaks at the dock, and the paper trail stays whole. That's the point, kinetic precision hand in hand with financial forensics. The node is gone, but the doctrine sits in front of you now. Institutions can be battle space, and oversight is a shield. The most dangerous ground can glow white and hum with air vents. Institutions that look safe can act as gray channels, moving money, power, and pain under policy lights. Danger doesn't always come from the shadows. Sometimes it wears a white coat, signs official papers, and shakes hands at charity events. If you want more tactical breakdowns on how interagency teams fight inside the gray zone, subscribe and comment your choice below: oversight reform first or tactical raids first. This is the story of a city's trust turned into a supply line, and a response that cut it clean. And the fixes start where the lights already burn.